Hi, Pastor Greg Pagh here. This series of messages leading up to our national elections on Tuesday, November 5th, is specifically directed toward Bible-believing Christians with two goals in mind. First, to get you to register and vote, and second, to encourage you to vote biblical values. Instead of just voting for a political party or a personality, I'm challenging you to get informed about the issues of our day and then vote for the candidates who hold positions on these issues that are most honoring to God. My topic in this post is the economy, which most people in the U.S. say is their number one issue this time around. So let me ask you, when it comes to the economy, do you think that Jesus is a socialist or a capitalist or something altogether different? Continue watching as I share some thoughts on that question and challenge you to ask, what do I believe and why do I believe it, and how should my faith and values influence my vote? In this election year, I can guarantee that every candidate for political office will be promising you more money in your pocket, more free stuff, and better opportunities to get ahead in life, if you will just vote for them. However, behind their promises are underlying economic philosophies that may seem harmless, but can have a tremendous impact on your personal life, your family, and the future of this nation. So is Jesus a socialist or a capitalist? Let's start with a couple of definitions regarding these two economic systems that seem to be competing against one another in America. Now, socialism is a political and economic system in which the production and distribution of goods and services is largely publicly owned and typically controlled by the state or government. Think Venezuela, Russia, or Cuba as current examples. The stated goal of socialism is to level the economic playing field in society by providing for the basic needs of all people, including food, housing, education, and health care. These are lofty goals, but history doesn't bear them out. In a case study of 25 socialist countries around the world, socialism, which is a derivative of Marxism, always leads to higher taxes, a loss of personal freedom, a reduction in the incentive to work hard and get ahead, and greater dependence on the government. Instead of meeting the needs of the people, wherever socialism has been tried, it always leads to greater poverty, where a few people at the top get rich at the expense of everyone else. In a socialist system, the government must, in effect, become God. That's why socialist leaders like Marx and Lenin sought to remove God from every part of society. And we're seeing it here in the U.S. Ever bigger government, more control of our daily lives, more censorship of our speech, and less religious freedom. Why even the traditional family is seen as a threat to a socialist agenda. In the long run, socialism has always proven to be a failure. By contrast, capitalism is an economic system in which the production and distribution of goods and services is largely privately owned and operated for a profit. Capitalism believes in free markets and the principles of supply and demand, not government control. It promotes personal initiative and creative innovation in the marketplace with the belief that anyone can get ahead. With personal success come blessings that are meant to be generously shared with others. Based on these definitions, Jesus was definitely not a socialist. Socialism is anti-God, anti-family, anti-individual, and anti-personal responsibility, all things that Jesus supported. While Jesus had great compassion for the poor, vulnerable women and children, and the outcasts of society, he never suggested that government was the answer. Instead, he taught that compassion and care for others should flow freely from the heart of a transformed life. Even the test of an apostle was commitment to help the poor. Now, that doesn't mean that capitalism is without critique. We need ethical capitalism today. quite frankly, biblical capitalism that recognizes that God is the owner and provider of every good gift, and that we are all called to manage His blessings wisely. We need business leaders today who recognize that honest labor was dignified by Jesus Himself, and that, as Jesus said, a worker deserves his or her wages. We need companies and corporations today that strive to be a blessing to their communities and to this nation, desiring to serve the higher good. In Matthew 10, verse 8, Jesus said, "Freely you have received, freely give." So was Jesus a socialist or a capitalist? Neither, in fact. He was a revolutionary. His economy transcends any earthly system. No amount of worldly treasure can ever substitute for the tremendous gift of knowing Jesus as our Savior and Lord and following Him. But as we prepare to vote, we must ask, which economic philosophy being promoted in the U.S. today is most honoring to God? And which party or candidate will best implement it? As Christians, we must ask God to help us discern the truth about everything that is being thrown at us, lest we be deceived by political promises or mere expediency. We must then vote, and vote our biblical values. We cannot sit on the sidelines at such an important time in our history. Which direction do you want to see our country move? If this video was helpful, please share it with someone you know that may be interested. The third post in this pre-election series on biblical values will consider the topic of immigration. May God bless you and bless this nation.